Good evening, Facebook land. This is Josh from Operational Speed Supply.
And I'm Audrey.
So November 14th, we are hitting the beginning of the winter months. It has finally dropped down to below 20 at nighttime, mid 40s in the daytime. We have one more event left this year for us this weekend at Sabre Army Airfield that we are going to put on at the air base. Should be a lot of fun. After that, there's nothing. So no racing, and we are in the middle of a build right now with the new shop. And unfortunately, it is taking longer than I would like to be patient for. It's actually moving along quite quickly, but I'm impatient, and I want things done yesterday. And we are still waiting for the concrete to completely cure before I can coat the floors and get them nice and set up, and then finish the rest of the shop. But it's moving right along. It's got me a little stir crazy. I'm a little antsy. Can't do anything in the car. Really don't want to race it because it needs some TLC. You know, it's got all these things. It's the frustrating, the winter doldrums of racing, and I no doubt am driving my beautiful wife here crazy. Being as stir crazy as I don't know. What do you think?
You haven't been as stir crazy as you claim, because Josh Jones always finds something to do. But yeah, we are both looking forward to the shop getting done so that the Camaro can move in, the M86Z can move in and get out of our front yard.
Yeah, unfortunately, it has been in the front yard, and I have to go out there every other day and clean leaves off of it and whatnot. It's almost a sad sight to see, to have that thing out there. I'm not happy with it, but the shop is coming. Once the shop's up, we'll have the lift in there, and some magic's going to happen over the winter. We talked about build plans last week, what we got planned for things, and it's coming along. It'll be out there. We'll be getting some work done. So, Hector, yeah, thank you, man. It's looking good. So, once that place is finished up, we'll have a little get together, a little cookout here, and almost do kind of a grand opening of the Operational Speed Supply Research and Development Laboratory.
The official name.
Yes.
Is that what we're calling it?
That's the official name.
We're launching it. Okay.
We're launching it. It is, you know what? Everything we do here, we're given respect and honor to the original OSS, the Office of Strategic Services, and one component of them was the Research and Development Laboratory, which developed some very interesting weaponry for the war effort in World War II. So we're gonna develop some interesting equipment for us to go out and put down some serious lap times and put people in the winner circle. That's what we're gonna be doing. So, but yeah, other than that, it's the winter time, you know, and
the season has slowed down tremendously.
It's slowed down. I finally had a couple of weekends where we weren't really planning on anything or doing anything, so it's been kind of nice to do that. But it's definitely it's one of those. It's like I don't know what to do with my hands. But
I could help you.
Yeah, plenty of honeydews around the house. Pull out Christmas decorations and get things ready for the holidays and family coming into town and all that fun. But no, it'll be good. It'll be definitely good. So today we'll dive into a little bit of Audrey's experience of the racing season this year. The two big ticket events that we went to were the UMI Autocross Challenge and the UMI King of the Mountain event. Both of which we raced and ran with the OG racing team together. Had a really good time with everybody. It's one of the few times that we got the majority of the team together. Even for King of the Mountain, Chris Brown and Matt Burney both came out. Matt Burney had like a 6 or 7 hour drive and showed up just to hang out with us. And then Chris came up again, hang out. He had a little bit of a rough time in the Autocross Challenge, car breaking down on him and everything. Fuel pump went out. And then, yeah, Hector, wish you could have been there too, brother. He was not able to make it for this one. But I've been talking too much already. I'm going to kick it over to Audrey and kind of what did you think about the races at UMI?
Well, the races at UMI were fantastic. I feel like the SITREPs that have been done so far, we have put a lot of focus on UMI and you got to share your experience, and some of the other team guys shared their experience, which is awesome. One thing, though, that I noticed is that you didn't give yourself any recognition for the events that you put on.
You know
you
what?
want to talk about that?
Yeah. Well, we wrapped up Clarksville Autocross. We ended up only putting on 6 events this year. We had 7 planned. 6 of them happened. One we canceled due to impending weather that never materialized. But what ended up being an awesome thing about that is I canceled it, posted to Facebook and everywhere that, hey, this event's getting canceled for the day, but hey, join us for breakfast. And we overran IHOP. We had 31 or 2 people show up to IHOP, and every one of us ate breakfast. I ended up having to go talk to the manager and say thank you for accommodating us, because we literally took that entire restaurant over. So to everyone out there, all the Clarksville Autocross folks and everything, thank you for your support this year, because we had a lot of fun. The events brought out some very good competition. Chris Wheatcraft, Jeremy Brown, Charles Weaver showing up every weekend, and 3 distinctly different cars. You've got Chris Wheatcraft, good old leaf spring Wheatcraft, in that Camaro running leaf springs in the rear. You've got Jeremy Brown in that C6 Z06, which ironically used to be Chris Wheatcraft's car until he sold it to him. And then Charles Weaver coming out with the Tesla Plaid. And the Plaid, unbelievable car. He autocrossed it one time this year. He calls me up the next day and says, I'm hooked. What do we do? So we got him on a good set of Falcons, and he's been tearing it up ever since. And it's been a good time. We've had a great time with that, and I can't wait to get back out there next year and to kind of see where we're at with people coming out there. Unfortunately, it's the end of the season, and running autocrosses in 35-degree weather is a little bit rough. It's a little bit cold. I think we need to find us a big giant field and make a rallycross. So if you guys, anybody out there in Facebook land, you got an idea where we can find a field local to us, we'll set up a rallycross. So let us know.
So you put in a lot of work over the last year in making these events happen. What would you say was the highlight? What was the best event you did, and what was the biggest takeaway from it?
The highlight. So, God, honestly, the highlight is at the very last event we ran. We have a handful of volunteers that help out with these. Alyssa running the timing, and Jeff and his brother Darren coming out and running, basically running grid and getting the starting line managed. And then Darren's a very accomplished photographer, and he takes pictures for us, and he doesn't charge a thing for them. And these are professional quality pictures. And then Tim Malia, good friend of mine, we've known each other for years, served together in the Army, comes out and handles the timing equipment. And then, Hector, as long as he's not gone, he is always out there helping me run these events. And, he's my right-hand guy when it comes to our motorsports, our local motorsports program here, and helping run these events and making sure the competition is good. And so that is that's the biggest highlight. Every week we have people that show up and they give us their time. And the one thing I do want to highlight is each and every one of these people I have, thanks, Hector. We'll go ahead and show everybody this. I have offered every one of these volunteers money or some sort of compensation for their time, because it's a 10-hour day. You're showing up at 7 a.m. to set up the track, and you're not leaving till 4 in the afternoon, 5 o'clock sometimes, depending on how late we go. And they're out there, and they don't want anything other than to be there. So Alyssa took her first autocross laps this year in her car, which was awesome, because the first time we saw that car was last year. She was feeling pretty sick. We took a donation for her to get her some flowers and stuff when she was in the hospital, and Edmund, her husband, brought out the Camaro, raced the tar out of that thing that day. And then finally, a little less than a year later, she's out there racing the car herself. And to see her come across the line, just smiling ear to ear, that's amazing. A lot of first timers coming out, seeing the how excited they are. And the messages that we get weeks after, hey, when's the next event? When's the next event? Let's get out there and run again. When are we going to be able to go race again? And people are always coming out to support, and it's a lot of fun, man. We're excited. And the thing is we're not big time. We keep it small. We keep it local. But you know what? That has made it very tight knit, and we've got a very close group of racers that love to hang out with each other. Devin Whitman says, "Bing bong, what's up, brother, man? How? I'd like to complain about the cold, but you guys up in Wisconsin are probably a little bit colder than we are down here. So yeah, we have a really good time with it, and the family that we have grown out of just a couple folks setting up an autocross in a parking lot of a racetrack has been amazing. And so that's probably the biggest highlight for me.
Yeah. So you really think that the Clarksville autocross events are perfect for first timers too?
Oh yes. We keep it simple. We only have 5 classes. And it's really easy. It's front wheel drive, rear wheel drive, all wheel drive, sport, 2-seater cars, and trucks. Provided it's not a giant lifted truck, bring it out and race it. I bring up Edmund again. Edmund runs a truck every time he comes out there, unless he's racing Alyssa's car. And the first event of the season, he was out there in an 03 Silverado Z71, just tearing it up. And he ran mid-pack in that truck. And I'm like, dude, how are you doing this? But then he comes out there in his Nissan, his little hard body, and that thing is awesome too. He gets out and tears it up in that hard body just the same. So yeah, first timers, it's perfect. We set the course up. It's very simple. We don't try to make it very complex. We don't do anything crazy like Chicago boxes or 12 cone slaloms. We keep it very simple just to keep those first timers coming out, because we want to grow the sport, and the best way to grow it's to make first timers and newcomers feel comfortable.
Yeah, and I can say too, speaking from experience, that it's a good course to be on if you're not really familiar, or if you're learning a vehicle. Because I want to say the first autocross that I did at the Speedway here in Clarksville, I drove the wrong way.
No, you did very well here. So your first autocross was last year in the Camaro, the M86. You did really well.
I thought my first autocross was the Battle Wagon.
It was the Battle Wagon. It was last year though. No, it was 2 years ago.
At Beach Bend.
2 years ago at Beach Bend. It was one of Brian Finch's events with the Adrenaline Driving Series. We took the Subaru Outback and the Camaro up there, and you ran that Subaru all day long. I think we were about 2 quarts oil low after we got done with it, just beating the tar out of it. But once you got the hang of it, you come down to Clarksville Autocross and you ran very well first time out. And it's a really good course. Oh, yeah, Hector. So, Hector, you bring this up. Hector, you mind if I share this story? Since you brought it up, I'm going to. So, this year at Good Guys, new course, it was a Nashville Super Speedway. And they used part of the road course for the track this time, and it was incredibly fast. So I was crossing the lights on day 1, top of second gear. Day 2, I was hitting third gear, and Hector came down with me. We co-drove the car all weekend long, and he's never ran a Good Guys event. Hector's a very accomplished driver. He's an instructor for the binge track days, and he's a good driver. The guy knows his way around a racetrack, and he puts me to shame in his Miata when he's not breaking transmissions. But his first lap out there, the course you had to go left on the initial part of the course, and then it's kind of swung around the infield of the track. But if you didn't get a good course walk in, you would end up going. You could potentially go right and go down the wrong way to the track. Well, we did do a course walk, but Hector and I were just BSing the whole time, and we weren't really paying attention. And he went down the wrong direction in the car, and it threw everyone off. And then I go to get back in the car with the next lap, and we were co-driving, so same car go out there. They're like, "Hey man, you good?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" You co-driving? I'm like, "Yeah." Oh, making sure you guys aren't on the bottle or something like that, And I'm like, no, we're good, man. But yeah, Hector's first lap out went backwards. But I'll tell you this, co-driving that was a lot of fun. And I got a lot of feedback out of the car that I would not have gotten on my own. Hector could watch from the stands what it's doing when I do, go into the corner or whatever. And he could also feel what it was doing when we make little minor adjustments. We've got a very similar driving style, so it helps even better figuring that stuff out. But we made a few minor adjustments, and the car ran great all weekend. I was knocking on the door of a shootout place, a shot at the shootout all weekend long. And then last lap of the day, I got clipped by 0.2 of a second. So no bad weekend at all. It was a great weekend. We really had a lot of fun there, and get to put down some laps, hanging out with some good friends. Tom Farrington came down from Indiana. Susie and Rodney from Suspension Geek were up there hanging out with us, and it was a great time. So short legs is not the same style. I don't know, Hector. I think if I hop in the Miata, man, we're going to be running pretty equal times. We'll leave that alone for now. But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. It was definitely good times. But next year we're working preliminary schedule right now. We haven't released anything yet for the autocross season. We're kind of waiting on a few other entities to release their schedule because, well, we want to get our own, get out to do some of our own driving and whatnot. So we're waiting on a few other organizations to release their schedule for next year before we put out our calendar. The one thing that we try to make sure every time we run these Clarksville Autocross events is that we try not to schedule the same day as other events that are within, a 50 to 100 mile radius. I'm not trying to take away. We don't want to take away from anybody else's events. We want people to race as much as they possibly can. And so we want to make sure that there's never a point in which people have to choose, do I want to go to this one or that one? We want to try to be right in the middle of everyone's events. So we'll probably release that towards the end of the year, right around the 1st of January, end of December. Maybe that'll be our New Year's special. We'll release the schedule for the next Clarksville Autocross. But yeah, it should be good times.
So now that you have ran as many events as you have, what would you do different, do you think, for the upcoming year? What would you like to see different?
I would like to get some pre-registration figured out because Alyssa works her tail off, and we are constantly throwing tech cards to her to input into the computer for the timing. So we can get some pre-registration figured out. We can pre-populate most of the cars and names. I think that would be a huge help. That'd probably be the biggest improvement that I'd want to see. We've gotten a really good flow. I mean, I think the last event we ran, I think everyone got at least 12 laps in. And some, heck, the event before then, we opened it up. We did the shootout in the afternoon. We opened it up to just free laps in the afternoon, and we had one driver that got 25 laps. So it was a lot of we've become very efficient with getting cars through. And so I think we've definitely improved that. And that's been a lot of fun. So I'd say the biggest improvement is just try to get that pre-registration to save a little bit of time on the front end. The sooner we can get going and then get moving. Yeah, Robert Foley asked semi-permanent numbers per class. So we can definitely do that if we can get pre-registration figured out. The way our timing system works is that you can have a member number. And once we get that pre-registration all figured out in that member number, we'll type in the member number and your information populates if we're done. And then we can tabulate points over the season. So it's working out the finer details of that as we kind of move forward and get that set up, do what we can. But that's the goal. Try to work out those kinks over the winter when we're not tearing apart the Camaro. So we'll find time somewhere in there. Hector talks about track days next season. Yes, track days. One thing that I have not ran yet, and I would like to get out there and do just track experience. I'm trying to get to a couple Optima Ultimate Streetcar events next year. They it's probably more track time than most will get in the weekend. You'll do road course, you'll do autocross, and you'll do a speed stop. there's a few other little things they do with it, and I'm really looking forward to trying to do that. I've never done one, and I'd love to get out there and run a couple this year. So I think they released their schedule at PRI, which we will be there at PRI this year. So we'll see where that goes. Speaking of PRI, we got big plans for PRI.
Oh, do we?
Yeah, we do. We do.
Do tell.
PRI. So we are working with Power Auto Media Group, and they have started an engine build. Last year they did a 1,500 horsepower twin turbo LS build, and this year they are doing a 1,500 horsepower twin turbo Ford Godzilla build. So their new 7.3 crate motor, they're going to be building one at PRI, and we are a sponsor of this, and we will be there helping share the message of that and trying to get contestants entered into that. And we will be out and about at PRI. We'll have a good portion of the OG racing team. Tim, Brian, and Chris, myself will be there. Junior from Turn 1, OG member, he will also be there. And then we're trying to get Hector up there. I think his work schedule might interfere with that, but if we can get him up there, Hector will definitely be up there as well. So we're going to be taking part in that. It's going to be an awesome deal watching this motor come together and taking part in that. So just show you that, we do more than just autocross and, sell wheels. We also are full into engine builds and transmission work, and we're, we can help set up for everything. So this will be a showcase of what else that we are able to do and how we can help. Jeff Gordon says Bing Bong. Where's Tim at, Jeff? We need the Bing of the Bing Bong duo. I think we determined last time that Tim is Bing and Jeff is Bong. And then Tim elaborated that Jeff's more looks like a bong than is the bong. Hector says he may be able to attend. So great, Hector, if you can, let's get you registered. And if you guys are going to be at PRI, come find us. We will be there. Lamborghini doors, Jeff, we could figure something out. But you know what? You're a body specialist, so I figured you would be better off doing that. Probably make some awesome stuff. I think the cone bolt could use those Lambo doors, right? Jeff Gordon rocks that cone bolt, and you wouldn't think a Cobalt would be fast, but he has made that thing lightning fast, and he beats up on Corvettes and Camaros routinely. I know he kicked my ass at UMI this year. So, yeah. LS swapped the Miata. Hector, bring it down. The shop will be open. Jeff says he will work my body. I have no doubt. And I have no doubt, Jeff. But, yeah, that's kind of the year was a lot of fun this year. What was your highlight? I've been doing all the talking tonight.
Yeah, you're so good at it.
Oh God, don't tell me that.
Biggest highlight for me. Well, it was my first year experiencing UMI, and like I said before, it was fantastic. And I think a big reason why it was such a great experience is because of Ashley. She did a wonderful job at being an event coordinator for it. But really, my biggest takeaway from this year was the veterans event that you organized on Fort Campbell.
Mm-hmm. Back in April.
Yep. I thought that was an incredible experience. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, we're repeating that again on Saturday. So Saturday the 19th, we'll be back out there again.
Yeah.
Robert Foley brings up the clinic. He said the clinic was great. We got Justin Null watching. Justin, what's up, brother, man? Good to have you on here. So talk the clinic piece. You had a big part in the clinic.
So the clinic, I discussed the mindfulness piece that can serve in racing. And maybe not even so much racing, but just getting to learn your car and learn yourself as a driver. And that was really good. That was my first time giving a talk on mindfulness in the automotive world. And I think most people were pretty receptive to it. So we did a lot. We talked quite a bit in the beginning about the mind-body connection. And yeah. So
it was really good. So that was the start of the clinic. And then when we took that and then we set up stations and we had driving instructors. Hector was out there. We had Casey Woodside, good buddy of mine. Him and I have raced each other and raced with each other for years. Jeremy Brown was out there as well, and then Chris Wheatcraft. And we all took this and we kind of built this package to help introduce people to the world of autocross. And we had little stations set up. We had a slalom station and a brake station, a reducing radius corner station, and some things like that, some sweepers. And it was really good to just introduce some of the basic corners that you would see, and a lot of people really enjoyed it, and I think some people got some good stuff out of it.
Yeah. Which I gotta say, Hector was an awesome coach when it came to braking, because I truly was scared of the car at first, and he taught me how to not be scared. I really appreciated that part.
Oh yeah, you know what's funny is that the week prior, Hector had temporarily put his car up for sale, and I showed Audrey a picture of him. Like, hey, check this out, it's for sale.
I said no at first.
She said no, and then we get to the clinic, and she goes through the course herself in Hector's car, and she's like, "Is that the car you were talking about?"
Now I want it.
Hector started putting money in the car. I don't know if he's going to sell it now. We got him set up with some Willwood brakes, and he got some suspension work done on that thing, and it's I want to drive the thing again, man. I haven't drove it since it was still running on really horrible suspension geometry and a bad alignment.
Yeah, no, I really liked that car. I really enjoy driving the M86Z, which, back when Josh and I first started dating, he wanted to teach me how to drive his car. Little did he know I already knew how to drive his car.
Oh yeah, her mom is a great teacher of the manual transmission. So Audrey, being from San Diego area, very, very hilly, very mountainous area, she took her to the steepest hill in the city and said, "Hey, get up the hill, and you're either going to smoke the clutch and get there, or you're not going to get there." So she gets in the Camaro, and I'm like, "All right, just ease the clutch out," and I'm trying to coach her through it, and she just takes off, and you should have seen the look on my face. It was
his jaw dropped.
It was jaw dropped.
I think he fell in love with me that day.
Little shock. It's like, I think I'm gonna marry this woman now. So yeah, it's fun. It's definitely a lot of fun. So yeah, the clinic was a really good thing that we did this year, and we definitely plan on trying to do another one next year. I do want to highlight with the clinic, we had one sponsor for this thing, and he was a huge sponsor. So Charles Weaver, C-Reps, local here in Tennessee, they do some phenomenal work. And if you look at Charles Tesla, you would never guess that thing is wrapped. It looks amazing. And so we would definitely want to give them a shout out and talk about the fact that, he came forward and sponsored it before we even had it officially. He's like, "If you make it happen, I'm in, and we'll do what we can." The second thing I want to mention for the entire year as a whole, Battleborn Screen Printing came on board before we even had the series started. Last year, they reached out to us and said, "Hey, we want to help support." And they supplied all of our T-shirts and apparel that we have for this year. And so huge sponsorship help right there from Battleborn Screen Printing, sister company to Battleborn Powder Coating. And they've done some great work for us too. So both companies, want to give a big shout out to them, veteran-owned companies. Both Rusty spent some time in the Army before getting out a few years back, and then Charles, same deal. So veteran-owned companies that have been huge support to us. So we definitely want to give them a shout out. And if you are in the Tennessee area, or even it's worth it to get on Charles' schedule, even if you're 3-4 hours away, you will not regret having him do the wrap work on your car. So it was definitely an exciting thing, having those guys on board and helping us run this autocross and run these events this year. Because without them, it wouldn't have been possible. So definitely want to give them the credit. And now at this,
Tim said it was love at first shift.
Oh yes,
I love that.
Tim, we'll throw that out there. There you go. Hey, you know what? Now we've got Bing and Bong on board. So what cheeky comments do you guys have? I gotta say, so the big highlight too, I want to, talk about highlights for the year and things. And it is November, so things we're thankful for, right? The OG racing team has been nothing but amazing. So we set out to build a team, and initially it was just about racing. But the reality of it is that it's not about racing. It's a family for us. It's our new racing family. And so started out, Tim was the Brian Pico, who now business partner with us, was the first original OG with me on this racing team, and him and I teamed up together 2 years ago now. 2 years ago, we were sporting Zoran before we brought him on board, and we'd raced together a lot. Well, last year I reached out to Tim Gordon, and he jumped on right away to join the team, and it was awesome. And then it kind of moved from there. We talked to Matt Burney, and he wanted to be on the team as well. And then Mark Gullivan, Good Lovin', he hopped on board as well. And then from there, we were introduced to Chris Brown from TJ Brillhart up at UMI. We met him at UMI a couple times. Introduced us to Chris Brown, and Chris joined the team as well. And then after that, we asked Junior from Turn 1 to join, and that made up our autocross team. And then another guy I definitely want to make sure I mention here is Michael Davis. He's got an incredible ZL1 6th-gen Camaro, and he's set up for drag racing. It's not with the autocross, but I'll tell you this, though. The autocross team has come together, and we have been we turned into a very tight-knit family. Tim and his wife Chelsea came down, and we raced together at Camaro Fest, and great time having them down here. They came and hung out with us, and we were able to enjoy their company, and then get up there and race together. We get up to UMI, and the autocross challenge was rough. Chris Brown was co-driving a car. The fuel pump went out, so he was done early. He didn't get to race it all on the second day. But I'll tell you, that dude is happy as can be. He's the happiest person I've ever met, and so willing to lend a hand with anything and everything. Matt Burney went out, spun out, and when he spun out, he broke a brake line on the car, and we worked for hours to get him back up and running so he could get some laps in. And Chris was the first person to show up, like, what do you need? You need me to run to the parts store? You need me to whatever, get tools, whatever. And we came together to get Matt back running, and we finally got him up and running. And the car wasn't 100%. He still needed to get the little more brake line bleeding. And it turned out to be an awesome time. And so, yeah, Hector too. So Hector and I can't leave Hector out. My bad, buddy. But we raced last year. I met him the first time we ran at Clarksville Autocross. He shows up in a Miata with Arrow, and I'm like, wow, this dude's not playing around. And then we soon became really close friends. And so we're co-driving local events together. Hector and I are, letting our mullets fly and hitting the Motley Crue concerts and all the fun stuff together. And that was a great time too. But we've definitely built a very close family, and it's exciting to see how everyone has come together, and everyone is more than happy to help out. It's definitely good times. I'm gonna highlight the folks that we meet at all these events. Justin Nall, Devin Whitman. We were camped next to each other in the infield at UMI. Awesome racing together with those guys. Big shout out to Showtime JB Boyer. He's always a hoot to hang out with, even if he is cutting cones in half with his pizza cutting Camaro or Corvette, excuse me. And and good times. It's definitely good times. Definitely good times. I don't want to sound like Fast and the Furious, Hector, but yeah, I mean, family is the right word. It's about family. I'm going to shave my head bald now, so start walking around wearing V-neck T-shirts and a big cross. What do you guys think? Does it work? Is it me? No?
It's worth a try.
So yeah, that's kind of highlights for the year. It was a good year. All the cones he hit, you'd think he drove a Mustang. Chris Brown's not on tonight. I haven't seen him yet, but that's very true, Tim. He hit every cone. I'm pretty sure UMI had to reinvest in cones after his lap. And with that front splitter he had on that thing, if you weren't careful, it's going to cut you off the ankles. But no, it was good. It was a lot of fun. It was definitely a lot of fun. looking forward to getting back out there again next year. Trips like going to UMI are definitely good because it's a little mini vacation to get up there. And Hector, we're getting you up there this year. We have to rent 2 trailers and tow them in tandem. I don't care if we're getting you up there. So, what are your thoughts?
I'm excited for the new year.
Yeah. You excited for me to get out of the house and finally get in the garage and start working?
No. Well, I mean, at least now that we've moved, he'll have a separate space to use his colorful language and, beat stuff up.
I need to get a punching bag of some sort out there. So if like something goes wrong on the car, I can just go beat the tar out of that.
I mean, I feel like bashing the tools into the car was pretty effective for the last year.
Hey, you know what?
5 years.
I was forming the inner wheel well to fit the 18x11 wheels. So
and how'd that work for you?
They fit perfectly, no rubbing.
After the first meltdown or the second one?
It took 2. There was 4 corners. I had to get 2 of them right. The other 2 were pretty good.
Although I will say, I think meltdowns in motorsports is something that most people can relate to.
Hey, when I was 9 years old, I watched my dad throw a Holly carburetor across the shop. So, I mean, it's all in the family. But
so maybe that'll be the next SITREP, meltdowns in motorsports.
I think
anybody who wants to hop on and share their meltdown experiences.
Yeah, or bring your wives on to share your meltdown experiences because it's always different from outside perspective.
Actually, I think there's a specific time. I think it was around the 4th of July when Tim came with Chelsea, and it was when you guys were prepping for Camaro Fest, right? Am I on the right timeline?
Mm-hmm.
And I had sat outside while Josh worked on the car. I had been out there 5 minutes before he started beating it up and calling it a POS. And then I was like, all right, well, I'm going to take space and go enjoy my holiday somewhere else. But then Tim calls Josh on the phone, and Josh says, yeah, I just got finished losing my shit on my car. And then Tim says, oh, yeah, buddy, I've been there too.
Oh.
And Tim says a literal meltdown.
Yeah, we'll share this. Yeah, his meltdown was in Kentucky. It was 105 degrees. Oh, yeah, it was melting hot up there. And then Hector says he said some crazy. But you know what, Hector, now that we got the shot, man, you can bring the Miata down here, and your wife doesn't have to see your meltdowns.
She can hang out with me in the house.
Tim had a literal meltdown. So, yeah, it was a scorcher out there. But see, Tim, I give it to you, but at the same time, man, you still have AC in your car, so you can turn the AC up and close the windows and cool off. Chelsea stays out of the garage. That's probably the best thing. Hell yeah. Exactly, guys. Exactly. So, lots of fun. Once the shop is up and finished, we will do a special edition SITREP and show
Tom Jones says he has no idea where Josh gets his temper.
So just to give you guys an idea, Tom Jones is my father. This is my dad. He does not sing. Don't ask him to. He is not a good singer for our older folks that are watching that might know who Tom Jones, the singer, is. Not him. You just missed it. I talked about you chucking that Holly carburetor across the garage into the bolt cabinet.
Not at you. It was in your direction, though.
No, this one actually wasn't in my direction, so I wasn't mouthing off or anything. But no, he was trying to fix the linkage. It was a double pumper. We're putting on a little hot rod we had at the time, and could not get it to work. And it went into the bolt cabinet.
Oh, look, Tim Gordon.
Wow,
Wifey
Tim
stays in the kitchen making sandwiches.
Hell yeah, Borther Gobless. I'm not sure I quite figured that one out, but the Borther coming from Chris Brown. He had a misspell one night after a few too many Knob Creeks, and I think that's where it came from. So yeah, definitely lots of fun. But we'll show the shop up and everything, and then this year we got a lot of progress for the Camaro that we will showcase. A lot of plans for that thing, and we will be posting probably up about that thing every day. So it should be a lot of fun. But on that note,
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, it's been fun. We'll see you guys next week for Meltdowns and Motorsports.
Yeah, meltdowns and motorsports. All right, you heard it here. So Tim, Hector, Chris, when you do eventually watch this, let's talk to the significant others and get them on board for next week's SITREP. All right, guys. Y'all take it easy. Thank you again for tuning in. We are very happy you decided to spend your Monday night with us. So thank you. Have a good night. And